Alright, hello, and welcome back to the channel. It's your host, Rising Oblivion. Guys, the title of the video is not, it's not a clickbait, it is completely true. We are getting a brand new Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi game. I know I haven't covered Dragon Ball here on the channel for like 2 years or something like that, but if anything was going to make me want to cover it again, it's this. It is this 110% going to be this. So just recently we got a snippet, you're seeing it in the background right now, and I'm going to play this without me talking over it. You can just see this reaction fully for yourself. Guys, we're getting a brand new Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi game, but before we talk about this, I'm gonna let you guys see the trailer yourself and just see what you guys think first, then we'll talk about it. So let's go into that. 'So yes, it is done by Bandai Namco and Toei, once again the same people who did the original Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi series. So yes, we're getting these games again. I don't know exactly what this is going to be called. It might just be called Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 4 or whatever it might be. They might go with a generic title like that, but it has been a 15-year gap, guys, since we've had Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Yes, 15 whole years. I mean, I remember sitting playing these games on the PS2 as a little kid. It is absolutely insane to see that we're having a comeback when it comes to this series, but what does that mean exactly, you know? I mean, the Tenkaichi games were, you know, certain type of Dragon Ball game, but a lot of Dragon Ball games are pretty damn similar to Tenkaichi. For instance, the Xenoverse games, the Raging Blast games are very similar to that as well. Even Kakarot has some sort of playstyle differences and likenesses when it comes to the Tenkaichi series. Really, Tenkaichi was sort of the milestone when jumping into the more 3D sort of combat aspect when it came to the Dragon Ball games. We had 3D models, sure, in the Budokai games, but that was on that like 2.5 sort of side-to-side fighting type style game, similar to like what Mortal Kombat sort of spurred on when it came to those types of fighting games, you know, having that side-by-side instead of having more of a like third-person from behind angle, which when it comes to Dragon Ball and I think about Dragon Ball, like the show itself, you know, I think of it in more of that 3D aspect as well, which I think is why so many people like the Tenkaichi series and so many people like Xenoverse. So we know the game will probably be something similar to that, but what makes it a Tenkaichi game and not just another sort of clone of Tenkaichi like Raging Blast or Xenoverse or something like that? Because plenty of games have done this sort of 3D Dragon Ball style type fighting, but Tenkaichi might mean that they're trying to be more back with the roots of how the classic Dragon Ball games used to be, which is what I hope it is, because they used to have nice secondary modes, they used to have the entire story in there. Of course, Tenkaichi games also had a ridiculously long roster of characters, but it was also one of the few games where you could be Vegeta and then just boom, turn into Grade 8 Vegeta on the fly and just battle for the rest of the fight as Grade 8 Vegeta. We had lots of crazy fights when it came to this, and I like to think that Tenkaichi is a little more sandbox-like when it comes to the characters. You'd pick 5 characters, literally do any transformations you want from them, but also a lot of times the Tenkaichi games would start from Dragon Ball and go all the way to GT. Even the first Budokai Tenkaichi game, not like Tenkaichi 3. We know Tenkaichi 3 had the biggest roster, right? And obviously if you're going to have a bigger roster, it makes more sense to take from the Dragon Ball movies and to take from GT and base Dragon Ball and stuff like that. But no, even just regular Tenkaichi had a pretty long roster as well. Even having GT in there, Kid Goku, and some of the movies and stuff like that. You would also have the big fights as well. But also, that is, I think, what we are to expect when it comes to the Tenkaichi series. So that's what I personally would like to have. I think it makes more sense for them to call it Tenkaichi if they're going to be saying, like, this is the next installment of that series. I think we are to expect that. I think this will be a big sandbox Dragon Ball game again with a huge roster. Crazy battles where you can become Grade 8 Vegeta, Grade 8 Baby, stuff like that. That is something to expect when it comes to this. If we don't get that, then it's just going to be another, like, Raging Blast or just another Xenoverse type game. Obviously, Xenoverse has the time travel stuff, but I mean in terms of gameplay, right? And the roster and stuff. So hopefully we see something like that. Obviously, we don't want this to be a PS2 game, right? We don't want that to be exactly like that, but with this being like Tenkaichi 4 or whatever, they can expand on what we had on the PS2 and all those big characters, all the things I was just saying, the great battles, the large roster, having multiple characters, literally all the places, all the sagas of the Dragon Ball games, that big sandbox. We can now have that sort of stuff, but with online features. Imagine finally now getting to have like a super easy way to play Budokai Tenkaichi 3 basically, but now in a modern version where we have like full online capabilities, being able to customize characters, doing full-length tournaments. Can you imagine doing that? Like having your group of 5 characters or so versus somebody else's 5 characters online, having ginormous tournaments as well, like martial arts tournaments, going up the scales, or like having a ranked gameplay. That would be insane. That to me is what I think of when I think Budokai Tenkaichi 4. Like if it were to release right now, what that would kind of be like. It'd be like Budokai Tenkaichi 3, obviously expand on that, make it bigger. We have more stuff, more material now. I mean, even in that little trailer that we shown here, I showed you at the start, for the little teaser for this, we see Super Saiyan Blue, right? So we can expect them to even jump past GT now and include a lot of stuff from Super and whatnot in that as well. So there is even more characters, even more things that they could touch upon when it comes to the Dragon Ball story, not to mention the Broly movie and the superhero movie. There's a lot more material now that they can kind of branch off of and they can kind of do things with. I mean, even stuff like Tarball and, you know, the plan to eradicate the Super Saiyans and stuff like that, that wasn't even something that was really around with Tenkaichi 3, so there's been a decent amount of material for quite some time for them to have put into a brand new Tenkaichi game that, you know, obviously Tenkaichi 3 couldn't have. So this could be amazing. I don't know if I'm just talking out of my ass here expecting a little too much, but this could be like the most amazing Dragon Ball game. Going from Dragon Ball to Z to GT to Super now, all of those characters, the brand new movies, stuff like that, having online tournament modes, an enormous roster, bigger battles, character customization, stuff like that. This could be insane. It genuinely could be insane. That is probably my highest of hopes, all the stuff I just said there. What would you like to see when it came to this game? Like, do you think this is going to be living up to the Budokai Tenkaichi name, or do you think this is just going to be another just 3D sort of Dragon Ball game? Let me know what you guys think. I think from the little snippet of the trailer we have there's obviously not a whole lot to go off of other than really just the Budokai Tenkaichi name as to what to expect, right? So it's kind of hard to say currently what all we might be getting, but my fingers are crossed, my hopes are high. That series never really failed me. I enjoy them a lot, and I've even in the past year or two played some like modded versions of Budokai 3 and Budokai like modded 4. Like people would add extra stuff in there. Don't let them know that though. I did it legally. Please, I did it legally. But let me know what your thoughts are about this. Do you think this is a good thing, a bad thing, a cash grab? Do you think this will be the next big Dragon Ball game? I don't know. I've been kind of lost on Dragon Ball games for quite some time, but this could change my mind. I don't know. This is going to be it for this video, guys. Like, comment, subscribe for more content. As always, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you all so much for watching.